A major cyber attack has rocked Iran's banking system, crippling the central bank of Iran and several other banks. Initial assessments indicate this could be one of the largest cyber attacks ever against Iranian state infrastructure.
First, it was just a single login, one unnoticed breach. Then, like falling dominoes, Iran's financial system started to collapse. ATMs froze, accounts locked, millions cut off from their own money. 20 banks. One hacker group, IRLeaks. This was the cyber attack that forced a nation to pay millions just to stop the bleeding. Before the breach, few outside Iran had ever heard of Tosan, the company running much of the nation's banking technology. Tosan was more than just another IT provider. It was the quiet backbone of Iran's financial system, silently handling transactions, ATM networks, and online banking operations for millions of citizens. At its peak, Tosan's infrastructure connected nearly 20 of Iran's 29 active credit institutions. This included key players like Bankday, EN Bank, Bank, and more. The company's reach was so deep that a disruption in Tosan's systems meant disruption across most of the country's banking sector. And then came IRLeaks. Not a government agency, not a political activist group. Reports describe them as hackers motivated purely by financial gain. They saw Tosan not just as a target, but as the perfect leverage point. One strike could shake the confidence of millions of people at once. This is what made the attack so devastating. IRLeaks didn't just hit a bank, they hit the hub that connected them all. It was like hijacking the central nervous system of Iran's financial body, and for a moment, that system flatlined. It started with silence, the kind of silence that hides a storm. Inside Tosan's servers, IRLeaks had already broken through. They were mapping the digital heart of Iran's banking system, learning which wires to cut and which doors to open. No one knew yet. The networks looked normal. Payments still processed. But deep inside, the attackers were preparing to pull the plug. Then the cracks appeared. First one ATM failed, then another. By the afternoon, whole networks began to fall offline. People tried logging into their banking apps. Nothing. Transaction declined. Soon, the panic started. Crowds gathered outside branches, demanding answers. For many, this was their salary day, and their money had just vanished from reach. Behind the scenes, IRLeaks wasn't just shutting down systems. They were copying data, fast. Full names, account numbers, credit card details, transaction histories. Millions of records leaving Iranian servers in real time. This wasn't a random outage. This was data theft on a national scale. Every stolen file gave the hackers more power. The Iranian banks were in chaos. IT teams tried to contain the breach, but the attack had spread too far. The government stayed silent at first, afraid of triggering a bank run. But everyone knew something was wrong. When the ATMs of a whole country stop working, you can't hide it for long. And at the center of it all, IRLeaks. They weren't hacktivists or political warriors. They didn't care about ideology. They cared about leverage. They cared about money. And now, with Iran's banking system at their mercy, they were about to name their price. Once the attack was in full swing, IRLeaks revealed their demand. $10 million, paid in cryptocurrency. In return, they promised to stop leaking the millions of customer records they had stolen. Names, account numbers, credit cards, transactions. For Iran's banks, this was no longer just a hack. It was extortion. Tosan, the IT provider at the center of the breach, was forced into the spotlight. Bank executives and government officials scrambled behind closed doors, searching for a way out. But IRLeaks had all the leverage. ATMs were down. Banking apps were failing. Public trust was collapsing. In the end, reports say Iran gave in. Instead of $10 million, around $3 million worth of cryptocurrency was paid to the hackers. The payment was never officially confirmed in public statements, but cybersecurity reports and investigators agree the money was transferred, and IRLeaks walked away richer. Yet the questions remained. Was the data really deleted? Could the hackers be trusted? Or had Iran just shown the world that its banking system could be held hostage for a price? For ordinary Iranians, the attack was more than just a headline. It was a shock to daily life. ATMs failed without warning. Banking apps refused to load. People queued outside branches, unsure if their savings were safe. In a country already struggling with inflation and sanctions, the cyber attack struck at the heart of trust. Trust in the banks, and trust in the state's ability to protect them. For the banks, the damage went beyond technical repairs. Millions of customer records had been stolen. Names, accounts, cards, transactions. Even if the ransom was paid, no one could guarantee that the data was deleted. The fear of exposure lingered over every customer. For the Iranian government, the breach was an embarrassment. Officials initially downplayed the crisis, claiming systems were secure and under control. But the reality was impossible to hide. Nearly 20 banks had been hit, and billions in assets had been exposed to risk. Internationally, the attack sent a warning. If a single IT vendor like Tosan could be compromised, then entire national systems could collapse in a single strike. The IRLeaks incident showed how fragile digital infrastructure can be, not just in Iran, but anywhere. The fallout wasn't just about lost money. It was about the lingering question: who controls the future of finance? The governments that build these systems, or the hackers who can break them? The IRLeaks attack was more than a breach in one country's banking system. It was a warning to the world. The weak point wasn't the banks themselves. It was Tosan, the third-party IT provider. By hacking one vendor, IRLeaks gained access to almost 20 financial institutions. This is the danger of centralization. When one hub fails, the entire network crumbles. The ransom payment raised another dilemma. Once a nation pays, what stops attackers from trying again? Paying ransom might buy silence in the moment, but it also paints a target for future extortion. And for everyday people, the attack was a reminder of how fragile trust can be. When your bank card fails, when your savings vanish behind a frozen screen, technology suddenly feels less like security and more like vulnerability. The IRLeaks incident showed the world that cybersecurity is no longer just an IT issue. It is national security. It is financial stability. It is public trust. And if one nation's banking system can be held hostage, it means no country is truly safe. The IRLeaks attack wasn't just about Iran. It was a reminder that in a connected world, no system is unbreakable. Banks, governments, businesses, all of them live under the same shadow. The next breach could happen anywhere, at any time. And the real question is, will we be ready when it does? At Tileris, we know that cybercrime isn't slowing down. It's evolving. Visit Tileris.com because hackers are getting smarter, faster, and more ruthless. But so are we. We use advanced AI, real-time intelligence, and predictive monitoring to fight online fraud before it strikes. Whether it's banks, businesses, or individuals, we build shields where others see cracks. Because cybersecurity is not just technology. It's trust. It's protection. It's the difference between collapse and survival. If this story opened your eyes, don't leave without taking the next step. Subscribe to this channel for more real cyber stories. The hacks that shook nations, the frauds that fooled millions, and the lessons you can't afford to miss. Join the fight. Stay aware. Stay protected. Because the next cyber attack isn't a question of if, it's a question of when.